Hi, so about meritocracy, I think it sounds fair in theory because people should be rewarded for their effort and talent. But in real life, not everyone starts with the same opportunity, so it doesn't always work the way we imagine. Merit matters, but context matters too. Honestly, I don't think it's completely fair that a football player earns more than the best doctor. Doctors literally save lives while athletes entertain us, but the market pays for attention, not importance. It shows how society values popularity more than impact.
So I think it's a good thing in certain areas. I think that if it's in the same area, for example, in a job, it's good that people, get merit for the work they have done. But in the case that you're talking to me about the footballer and the doctor, I think it's not the first thing to do. I think in that case it's really different because they are different areas. So they have different type of recognition, different type of ideologies, and different type of things. So in my opinion, if they are more famous, then they get more money. That's pretty much it.
Meritocracy is a good thing because it demonstrates the potential that a person can achieve if they focus in what they are doing. I think that is not fair because teachers and doctors contribute to the society in a good way. They help people and guide the students to a better future.
That meritocracy applies to all the persons because if you effort yourself, you can compare your world, your goals. So I think that it is fair that the best football player win more salary than a good teacher because they are different areas, and in sport, millions of dollars are moved every day.
World-class football earns more than a week that the world-class doctor in that ticket. Let me be clear, I respect the athlete's dedication, but let's compare merit. The doctor sacrificed years over a decade, grueling study and training. They carry an immense weight of human lives in her hands, and their contribution is fundamental. They hit, they save, they give us more time with our loves. The football provides entertainment, valuable, yeah, essential for the survival.
As we could check, we know that capitalism is part of our system nowadays. So then it emerges the meritocracy, and I am going to talk about more about this and the beginning of all of this in order to explain an important author that I am going to mention in a moment. It is important to understand what happened on the past and why we are here on this system called capitalism. And all started with the humanism and the Renaissance. That was on the ending of the Middle Ages. And this time the ideas started to change, especially in Italy, Florence. And the theocentric view was no more the explanation of the different aspects of life. The monasteries, university, and cathedrals were places where you could know how to write and read. However, the knowledge was more focused on the theocentrical view. On the aspect of art, it was almost the same. The pieces were based on God, of adoring Him, and the religion in general for educating people that didn't know how to read. The social life and the political was controlled by the church. Also, they imposed certain rules and also about the moral, about what was good, what was bad. It was also the justification of why the people that were on top were on top. So now, on that time, people were happy with that, but then something happened that began the transformation of those ideas. Like this image, the bubonic plague happened. As we know, a big amount of people died. There was no discrimination between anyone. Children die, women die, good people die, bad people die, privileged and unprivileged people die. Here was the big question, because God was the one that take care of good people. They reward them. So in that moment, why he decided to kill that good people? So then the merchants evolved into a new class called bourgeoisie. There was not enough people to do the different economical activities to produce, so in consequence, the king did not have money. So the merchants gave it to him in order to be representatives or governors of the different regions, like lords, but now they had no royal blood. They controlled the regions the way they wanted, exporting products, asking for taxes, etc. This group was the key aspect of the impulse of the humanism. They support science, support art, banks. There was the end of the feudalism. They had impact on the absolute monarchies, help on the Protestant reform. And here we are, I am going to mention some other authors or important people of that time, of those times. So now, first I am going to talk about Giovanni Pico della Mirandola. He studied on the Bologna University in Italy. He's a polemic character. He wrote around 900 theses called Conclusiones Philosophicae, Cabalisticae, and Theologicae in 1486. But the church found that 13 of them were like kind of like not as the doctrine mentioned. He mixed some ideas that were not like good seen, so because of this he was poisoned and died. But the main point of him is that some ideas that were like the basis of the humanism, that one of them is this one called freedom, that we can find or discover the truth by ourselves and we can decide who we are. These ideas were dangerous on those times because there was the risk that the church can lose like the power because they want people to be dependent of them. And also the truth of everything supposedly was on the Bible. As a summary, he was important due to that he mentioned that we have the openness to choose, think, and look for the truth by ourselves. So now we have other important characters like Erasmus de Rotterdam. He is considered like the father of the Christian humanism. He published an essay called The Price of Folly. He wanted to make like some changes on the church. He mentioned the corruption that was present on there, the ignorance of the people that were in charge of them, the interest that the people of there had interest on the money of the people. So also they existed like this called the indulgences that people had to pay in order to reduce the punishments or their time in the purgatory because of their sins. And also the people usually paid because of the sins of the family members that were already dead. So also he mentioned because now Dante Alighieri, he was a poet and a writer, but there is a piece of art that I want to talk about, that is the Divine Comedy. On this one he wrote his name down, so in the time that were like something like weird because all of those ideas in theory were given by God. So the art was made by God, not by these people. And also on the history, he put like the character of the history, and also he makes like a kind of reflection and also mention his emotions, his thoughts, his doubts, his fears. So here it is the other important characteristic of the humanism, that is the individualism, that is this part that people is independent from God. And also we have Machiavello, or in Italy it is known that Niccolo di Bernardo di Machiavelli. So he wrote this book called The Prince in 1513. He broke completely the moral of those times. He wrote this book for the next governors, like a kind of guide. So he shows important points. Also, the term of called like virtue, that was not connected anymore with the moral, more with the knowledge, abilities, and capacities that everyone have. So he mentioned some ideas like the a good governor is the one that is brave, the one that adapts, the one that acts quickly, than the one that lies if it is necessary. So also mentions that people is bad, is selfish, and you have to scare them in order to have control of them. So this piece was other important part, because there was no more pieces talking about God. There was more talking about people. So that's why he's like other important character on this humanism, because he focuses on analyzing like the politics on centering of people. He uses reason, this observation, his thought, and shows his understanding on about what is around him, and also writes a little bit about the classical history that we return to. So as a summary, the humanism has this idea to return and remember that we have dignity, freedom, this capacity of thinking and creating. And these points, as I mentioned, were like from years ago on the past, on the Greeks, on the Romans, and the philosophers of those times. So humanism has the idea to become a better person. You need to know what happened in the past in order to understand yourself in the present. So also this is related with the anthropocentrism, because with the ethics and the morals that you put on the center the human needs above the other aspects that happened in the beginning. Now we are living in the contemporary era. Here we have different things. The life expectancy increase. We have a lot of technology advances in different areas, mathematics, politics, physics, etc. But the thing is that we retook the ideas of the Greeks, like the Aristotle with the empirism, the observation, since this part of humanism. Then the modernity happened, the industrial revolution. So the thing here is, right now we don't have the same commodities as everyone. We have this example of Africa, that is a poor continent. It has this continent has a lot of problems about poverty, hunger, violence. So the thing here is that they have a lot of natural resources. So here we can see like this part of the capitalism. So we have other important aspects about it. Of course, we have this productivity and economic growth. We have this private property, free markets. So it was good. But we have other type of problems, like this division between people that is existing between the poor and the rich, the polarization. We have precarious labor, loss of job stability, globalization, and this part of the digital platforms. So now we have this problem, as I mentioned, that it is division, and we are not starting at the same point, because we don't have the same commodities. So we have a justification of this, that is meritocracy, that was on the beginning of this video. Meritocracy is these things that if you work hard, you will be successful and you will have a lot of money. So this problem of injustice, inequality, and these people that is on top say that it's not that, it's like the meritocracy. So right now I want to talk about like my new idea of humanism. So let's start with that part. I want to visualize that this is a problem. We are not at the same point when we born. We don't have like the same opportunities. So if I make a lot of errors, sometimes it doesn't happen like that. And the other thing that I want to visualize is that we think that we are valuable for producing or making things. So we're valuable because of the things that we do. So that it's a lie. We have this term of dignity that then evolves into the human rights. And then this part of the ego and the competence that is existing all the time for jobs. And also, since we are children, our parents and the teacher tell us that you can do better than him, you can be better. And this always like, I have to be better than the other person. So this is a problem. This is totally a problem. Because we are people who have like this we're community. So here is the people that is egocentrical, that doesn't share anything with you. So this ego, only the point is me. Okay, you recognize that you're an individual, you are someone, but there is a problem with the humanism because it's also the other spheres or dimension of being a person, that is the spiritual one, the intellectual one, the emotional one, and the social one. So here we need a new humanism. So we have to maintain dignity with everyone, no matter in any circumstance. We are valuable. We do not have to show anything to have the basic thing that we need for living. We have to develop more altruism. We need to understand that help others is nothing bad. We can grow by strengthening our shared humanity that we have. Equity for everyone. We do not have the same opportunities now, but we can establish us at the same level to be side to side, knowing that we can do everything that we want to have. Here we can visualize our liberty to develop ourselves. Empathy and comprehension is other point. We have a lot of information around us. I think that we don't need more. We just need to digest it by hearing and understanding the other human, because we have to remember that we have emotions and reasons. We have to love ourselves and the other around us. Our value is not based on our production. We are much better than that. We have different dimensions that make us being us. We have to treat us with love. We can make mistakes, but it's part of being humans. So we have to understand with others with patience. We are interconnected as a society. We have to maintain this part of individualism and identity because we are unique. So also we need adaptability by understanding the other. This is related with tolerance. We have to adjust ourselves when we are different people, that we think in a different way or that we are in a different context. So now we have this philosopher that is Michael Sanders. He's from Minnesota. He's actually a professor of Harvard, and he's a political philosopher, and he wrote this book called The Tyranny of Merit. He mentions like the problems that are with the meritocracy and the division that is between the society right now, the one who loses, the one who wins. So he mentioned this part that we do not start at the same point when we are born. So also he mentioned like the ones that are on top, and it's like for fortune, or it's just like kind of luck. And also he tell us about this term that is called arrogance of winners, that the ones that are on top underestimate the ones that are not there, the ones that didn't have like this luck. And this is not beneficial for the society right now, because we live on this system that is the democracies, or the democracy. So see, like he mentions that seeing us like community is very difficult because of this. And also he mentioned like we are always passing through filters. So he explains about the university, that we think that the ones that go to university have a dignity life, they have money, they have a good job. So that is like an kind of injustice, because We don't have to relate that if we have the opportunity, we can have access to a good life and dignity life. So he mentions this part, like we are always passing filter because of the admission exams. The one that have the high scores go, and the other ones no. Also, he mentioned that the one that we are privileged and we go to the university, and the ones that we are going to make a career, we do not have to make this distinction between people. We have to take advantage of this to do not increase this part of see the others they didn't work hard, underestimated. So that's pretty much it. And also talking about the first questions that were mentioned on this video, he mentions that we think that it's okay that a soccer player wins more money than a professor or a doctor or nurse because of the impacts that generate on people and the production of money that the soccer player make. This could be unfair at the end because the common good matters, not the things that are beneficial for most of the people. We have to think about values and the necessities of everyone. That is the way he mentions. As we can perceive, he thinks that this part of extreme individualism is not okay. For this part, I want to close saying, what do we do now for the future? So for surviving the future, we need to see us as community, not as a competence. We have to be aside of the ego to avoid to think of our values determined by the money that we generate and the production that we make. We are valuable just for existing. And see us as a competence only generates this break in the society, because the social humanism involves to recognize us, and we have to take responsibility of the social dimension that we are on.